everyone, Phil from 3DP UK here with a quick update on the Creality Ender 5 S1. This was recently sent over to me by Creality to do a review on this. You can check out that video of an extensive unboxing and build. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me build my channel and bring you more content. Now, this particular video is just to bring up an update about 10 days on from me receiving this. I've found that the quality of the build was absolutely amazing. The Sprite extruder, capable of up to 300 degrees, and the direct feed extruder. Now, this gives you the opportunity of using all different types of filaments, so PETG, ABS, PLA, TPU, polycarbonate, and HIPS and ASA. Now, I would say that the higher temperature products, you would probably need to get the enclosure for that, unless your environment is a lot warmer. Now, Creality do have an enclosure that you can purchase, and it's about approximately £100 at the moment of this video. But there are some third party, and you could probably create some other types of enclosures that you could build yourself. Now, the Creality version is really sleek, and it gives it that beautiful look. It's something that I'm probably going to extend into doing myself. Now, as you can see, the build plate has had some use. Now, bearing in mind this is only 10 days, as you can see, there is some scarring from where the prints adhered too well to the build plate. Now, it's using a spring steel flexi plate. Now, no issues with adhering to the product, to the actual build plate. What I found was it was sticking too well, hence the reason why I've used glue. Now, this just allows it to peel off once it's cooled down, and that seems to have worked an absolute treat. Now, you have the 32-bit silent board, which I will show you later on in the video once I open up that. You have the 4.3-inch touchscreen, which is really touch sensitive and perfect. There's no delay in terms of that. It uses a full-size SD card, and basically all of the actual features of that. What I also like is the fact that you can, where are we? So in the leveling mode, you can actually change it in 0.001 and 0.005, which I really like. So as you can see, it's homing. Now, the original version of the Ender 5 S1 actually homed the bed all the way to the bottom towards the board, or to the actual power unit. Now, my version that I've been sent actually homes to the top, which is obviously going to save a lot of time in terms of leveling and preparing for prints, which I've really enjoyed. The original had the limit switch at the bottom near the part of the motor here, which seems to have been moved. We have typical printing speeds of up to 120 millimeters a second, but I tend to go for about 90 to 100. Some of the prints that I do are quite sensitive to high speed, so it comes with the brass nozzle, and is a filament diameter of 1.75. The bed print heats up to about 110 degrees maximum, and yes, it does have power loss recovery. The filament sensor, which you can find to the rear right hand side, works perfectly, as I discovered when printing off this Deadpool bust. Now, as you can see, the actual filament changed halfway, 3/4 of the way through. Now, what it did, the bed stayed as it was, and the print head moved to the far left hand or right hand corner if you look from the front, and just waited for the changeover filament. Now, I didn't notice that it had run out until about an hour later, so it sat there perfectly happy, and as you can see, the print come out really successful. Now, this is a 0.2 layer height, and using their Creality slicer, made a few slight modifications in terms of the infill and the wall. So I'm using 3 walls on this just so that you don't see any of the infill, which you can see is perfect. I've also printed some Flexi Factory items such as the Spaceman, which as you can see perfectly comes out using some dual filament. And we also have some cinder wing items. So as I say, these are very fragile and sometimes very, very difficult to print, especially on a new printer and not using certain slicer settings. So it seems to cope really well with that. The acceleration of about 2000 millimeters a second really helps it to be really speedy and is totally in control. The Cartesian build of it, the actual stability of the bed using the dual rods, and you also have some stabilizers, which I really like. This bed's very, very secure. As I said, on off switch on the left hand side with the power cable and SD card on the right hand side, as you can see. You can also connect up by USB-C. So overall, the actual build quality of the Creality Ender 5 S1 I think is absolutely amazing. Off the bat, I've had no failures. I've had zero issues in terms of setup. The quality of prints have been pretty much up there with some of the best machines that I've been using recently. And the fact of the stable cube design as well, it's very, very, very nice to look at. The stability of the prints, I'm not getting any issues with that. I will be purchasing the enclosure, as I said earlier on in the video. And the reason for that is to help with some of the PETG and things like that I'm hoping to print with. And I think also aesthetically it makes it look very, very nice. Now we're going to open it up now and have a look at the main board, and that's going to be what we're going to show you, just to have a look at the types of connections that Creality use, because I know a lot of the other brands they don't use very good connections, and we want to just check that out. So let's head over to that section now. Okay, so now we opened up the Creality Ender 5 S1's main cover. You see that they're using their Creality 32-bit board, and if we go in close enough, we see that they use ferrules. Now, I find that so much better than using the tinned, which a lot of brands do use, and I know that a lot of people do swap that out. So for Creality to use ferrule connection straight from the offset, I think is a good standard to work to. Round the back, you also have the 4.3-inch screen, which has the SD card. So if you need to update the firmware, you will need to open up the actual unit itself. Now over here we have the power unit, and this is rated at 350 watts. Overall, the actual wire layout is absolutely perfect, and they have used the earth-in straps. So in terms of the quality of build within the unit itself, Creality have definitely not taken any shortcuts in that respect. The connections for the hotbed around the back of the unit is a screw thread, which means that obviously the actual quality bit of the build there is perfect. So overall, within the actual Creality Ender 5 S1, overall I'm very, very satisfied with how they've put that together. The quality of the build overall is absolutely amazing. In terms of upgrades, I would think that I would probably swap out the mainboard fan that comes stock. Now, when running, this turns on straight from the moment you turn on the actual machine, so it's not looking for a heat. It's basically on all the time. Now for this particular fan, it's quite noisy. For me in my studio, it's not an issue, but if you've got this in an area where you're going to be keeping it within your home and you kind of want it as quiet as possible, the fan tends to be the most dominant sound of this particular printer. Now you could swap this out for a more silent fan, and I've seen some mods online for that, and it's something that I am going to consider in the future. But as I say, I use this in my studio and it's away from where I have my living quarters. But overall, as I say, the actual build is absolutely amazing. Okay, so I've taken the all metal shroud away from the Sprite extruder for the Creality Ender 5S1, and it's not too heavy, if I'm truly honest. I've seen a lot of people saying that they need to remove it. I don't feel that you need to remove that. It's not going to save too much weight in terms of the quality of the build. It's not going to affect the print in any way, shape or form. I really like the setup of this with the direct extruder, and the cooling fan on this seems to be a 3D printed cooling fan. So it's something that you could potentially upgrade yourself with the brass nozzle 0.4 as stock. I've seen that these are quite easy to swap out. Now, in terms of the quality with the metal shroud, I do like that. It does make it look a premium model, so I will be using that, and I won't be swapping that out, but it's something, if you choose, you could. So now that I've put the Creality Ender 5S1 shroud back on, you can see the premium quality of the Sprite extruder. I do like that. Completely sold on the actual design of the all metal. Now over to the screen, as I said to you, you have the manual leveling settings. So you've got two different ways. So when you initially set up the machine, you will need to do auxiliary. Now it does have manual bed leveling knobs here on the four corners. That's just to level it out initially, and you won't need to do it once you've done it the first time. And then you go over to the bed leveling auto, which does a 25 bed level touch, and gives you the perfect mesh level. For me, from the moment I set up, I only had to change the Z offset slightly, but other than that, seemed to print first time. That's the quick update on the Creality Ender 5S1. Like I say, I have an extensive review on my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And that is the Creality Ender 5S1. Definitely a machine currently to challenge some of the higher premium quality. The speeds on this and the temperatures, and especially the opportunity to add an enclosure, definitely ticks quite a lot of boxes. Now the current price that I've seen currently on Amazon is $5.99, and that's in UK pounds. So yeah, head over to Creality's website, check them out, and don't forget to like and subscribe. That's Phil from 3DP UK, and that's the Creality Ender 5S1 update.